I'm Abby, I'm head of paid social Overdrive Digital, so everything paid social is kind of my remit. But I'm going to be talking about how B2B is still human to human. I think that gets really lost sometimes in the messages that we put out there. So I'm going to be talking to you basically about how you can improve your conversion rate on conversion campaigns by just considering the human behind the business. We're going to get a little bit sciencey, but there should be a few things that you can take away from this to test on your campaigns. So my favourite quote from Kevin Roberts, like the former CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi's, emotion leads to action while reason leads to conclusions. And the best example I can have for this is, I'm an insomniac, and when I can't sleep, I go on Vinted, and it's really bad. Like, I honestly, it's really, really bad, and I shouldn't do it. But I'm sad, I can't sleep, so I have these emotions that I'm like, I want to get that like dopamine buzz, and I'll order things, and it'll turn up to the door, and my partner will be like, what the hell? How many things did you order this week? But I'll justify it with the fact that I saved so much money because I got it on Vinted. So the emotion led to the action, but then I justify it with my reasons afterwards. So we're going through a few things. So the impact that you can make by considering the human behind a business, the power of a highly targeted audience. We're going to be going a little bit into kind of LinkedIn and how you can utilize that in paid campaigns and also in organic. And then how you can really test what messaging is going to resonate with your audience. And that's where we're going to get like a little bit sciencey on it. So the first thing to consider, now I'm standing up here and I'm head of paid, but your ads don't exist in a bubble, okay? There's other things that exist around your ads that impact it. And these days we do need like a little bit more reassurance. There's a lot of bad shit going on in the world, and people are really aware of scams and things like that going on. And actually Ofcom did a study where they found that 87% even, of adults in the UK have come across stuff that they believe to be scam. And in the first quarter of 2023, there were more phishing emails in the history of any history of phishing emails, apparently, according to IT governance. So people are really aware of scams and fake things that are going on. And then on top of that, you also have these like scam ads with kind of fake celebrity endorsement as well. So it's all these things kind of piling on top of each other. So you shouldn't underestimate your organic social, right? It's a massive thing. If people see a paid advertisement from you, they're going to do their research. They're going to see what other touch points they can have with you online, and that's going to impact whether they buy your product, whether they give out their information. People need to feel safe and they need to feel secure in doing that. So a really quick one that you can do with your LinkedIn if you're not doing it already is pinning your most relevant, most engaged with content. Like pin that at the top and make sure that you are consistently updating that to the most relevant thing. So people come to your page and they can see something that's relevant to your piece of content that's relevant to you, but also really importantly, how you are engaging with people online. Right? LinkedIn used to be, oh, I need a job, I'm going to go on LinkedIn. It's not that anymore. It's massively changed. It's become a place of community, a place of knowledge sharing, and people are going to be seeing how you are interacting with people, both good and bad comments that you might get. Another thing is continuity across your ads and your landing pages, right? See this so often. So in like early kind of 2010s, I got really into watching like very elaborate makeup videos, right? I do not ever do elaborate makeup. I'm terrible at it, but they're just like fascinating to watch, right? Yeah. And one of the things that they talk about in these videos is that your eyebrows should be sisters and not twins, right? AKA they should look like they're related to each other, but they don't have to be identical. And that's kind of this, I've kind of rolled with that like into marketing as well. So when you're thinking about your ads, there should be a correlation to your landing pages, but they don't have to be identical, right? So this is from one of our clients, Aqua Stock Exchange. You can see that the ad that we're using is quite punchy. It's quite like colorful to stand out on LinkedIn. And then when you get to the landing page, it's a lot more corporate, it's a lot more businessy. But there's a couple of things that are green flags or just maybe not red flags. The logo, it's being used in the ad creative, and it's used also just up the top. And then really basic, but the font is the same. If this was different, you'd be like, ooh, maybe I'm not going to give them my information. And because this is quite a long, in-depth form, you don't want any red flags really coming through. And then the power of peer proofing. So talk a lot about like social proofing on your ads and testimonials and things like that. But when it comes to B2B, it's a lot more powerful if it's coming from somebody that you aspire to be like or you respect. So if you are advertising to CEOs, get some quotes and some testimonials from CEOs and businesses that are aspirational to the people that you are serving to. Because if they can see that somebody like that is using your product or service, then it's going to be much more likely that they're going to convert. So HubSpot did a big survey, I think it's in 2023, so it probably needs updating now, but 36% of the top landing pages had testimonials and 11% had reviews. People want to know how you are servicing the people that you are working with, and they want to understand what it would be like to be working with you. So Splunk, another one of our clients, so they have this quite emotive quote on their page. It's like hiring another right-hand man. Like you can almost feel like the relief of using Splunk services off the back of this. I honestly can't say Splunk without giggling. We're going to move on from that. And then if you're able to, directly address the concerns that people might have using your service or buying your products on the landing page, and that can increase the conversion rate by up to 80%. So if you are quite expensive, address that. Address why your service is worth the money that you are asking for. If one of the kind of barriers is that people aren't 100% clear on what problem you're going to be solving for them, address that there on your landing page. Have it above the fold, have it front and center, and you won't see your bounce rate be quite so horrific. The harsh truth really is that, people don't care about your service offering. They don't care about how you started your business. What they really care about is a problem that you are going to be solving for them. And that's really where LinkedIn comes in. So LinkedIn targeting, unlike other social platforms, like Meta is becoming extremely broad. They're really pushing kind of all levers out of our hands and into theirs. But LinkedIn is still staying really strong with some really strong targeting options. It's powerful and it's still there, and I really back LinkedIn as a great advertising platform. You can use job titles to speak directly to the issues that face those roles. You can get in front of your ideal clients using ABM lists. You can get in front of companies that are actually going to need your services. So you can look at company size, you can look at company revenue. So they're going to need your service and they're also going to be able to afford your service, massively important, or you're just going to be wasting your advertising spend. And you can target companies in most need of your services. So company growth rate. Do you offer a service for people that are struggling to grow or people that have grown rapidly and need support in that way? So what we often find with not just LinkedIn ad campaigns, but kind of all, is that people will find one particular message that works really, really well, and then they'll go, oh, that's our winning message, that's our winning copy. We're going to put it across everything. And then it tanks. And then you're back at square one trying to figure out what's going to work for your messaging. And that's where we use this thing called copy concepts. Now, we just termed it that. It's really simple, but it's basically grouping ads together based on their marketing principle that they use in their copy, right? I'll give you an example. Basically, you use naming conventions in your ad titles and you can pull it all through like this. So instead of being in a situation when you're having to be reactive, so you've had your winning copy and it started coming off and you're like, okay, we need to come up with new ideas and it's all a bit panicky, you can become proactive and be able to iterate the things that are working. So this is for one of our clients, we're looking to get them to download a white paper. We can see that Information Gap has a really low CPA kind of compared to the other ones, and it's not got as much spend. So off the back of that, we would be making more iterations of the copy concept with Information Gap, right? Don't worry if you're confused, I'm going to go through kind of all of the different marketing concepts that these use. So yeah, it's not rocket science, it really is like just smart naming conventions and pulling it into a sheet, but it can make a massive difference. So, a few kind of ideas for you to test on your B2B, or this would work also with D2C as well, but loss aversion, right? This is kind of from the idea that when you win something, you don't really have like as much ownership of it. But if you just like if you lose something that you feel like you had ownership of, then you feel that loss a lot more. And I love the idea of like the $10. Like, yeah, I found $10 on the ground, that's great. But if you lost $10, you would feel that kind of sinking feeling, because you probably had like, I might be able to get a couple of pints with this, or this was for coffees or whatever. So when you compare your losses, they loom larger than your gains. And this is from Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow. Incredible book. It's really sciencey, so I have to put it up, pick it up and put it down, because it is it's not the most captivating, but it's got a lot of really, really good ideas in it. So definitely recommend that. Then the scarcity principle, right? I absolutely love this. So it's the idea that when something is in demand, but you can only get a certain amount of it, it inevitably becomes more valuable. I love Crocs, right? Come at me. I know everybody has really strong opinions about Crocs. I love Crocs. These incredible cowboy boots came out, and I got married last year, and I was really threatening to wear these. I was like, it's happening. You know who I am. You know what you're marrying. This is what's happening. I didn't because they're 266 pounds. Because in the UK, they are completely sold out. You can only get them in the US. This is restockers. So it's the idea that when something's hard to get, or has only a short amount of time to get it, it becomes more valuable. So really pushing that concept in your ads can make a massive difference. The reciprocity principle, right? The idea that if you give somebody something valuable, they are going to inherently feel a need to give you something back. So again, like, really great book. Yes, 50 scientifically proven ways to be persuasive. Really good read, definitely recommend it. They did a survey where they had like waiters, and what they did was they said, okay, give out 1 mint, 2 mints, or 3 mints, and a special mint to people, and see what the tips look like. And inevitably, when they gave out 3 mints plus the special mint, the tips went up by 23%. But the big thing here with the asterisks is they would go to his table and say, hey, so, here's a special sweet for you because you're my favorite table, or like, because your kids were so cute, or like whatever. Something that made people feel special, made them feel like you were giving them something. And then they felt that need to reciprocate. Again, peer proofing, super important. Not going to go into it too much, we've already talked about it. Autonomy bias. Anybody have a 2-year-old toddler in the room? Nobody? Have you ever been around a toddler? They're like tiny tyrants, right? And they want their way. But we all still have that within us. We all still want to feel like we have some sort of control over our lives, right? So with advertising, you can do this by saying things like, the choice is yours, like regain control, or just as simple as giving people options, right? Don't want to give too many options because it becomes overwhelming, but if you can give kind of 2 to 3 options, then it makes people feel like they have some sort of control, right? There's so many things that we don't have control of in our lives, so these kind of things, they do make a big difference. Information gap. Love this. This is the one that's been working really well for our other client. It's basically the idea that if you tease a little bit of knowledge to somebody, they're going to take action to fill in the gaps of that. So if you've got a really great white paper or a really great checklist, tease out a bit of what you're going to be offering people, and then they're going to take action to close that gap. So we use this is with our client Crown World Mobility, who actually moved me across the world when I was 7 years old. Crazy that we're working with them. So we had this white paper introducing mobility trends, quite kind of grainy. I don't know if you can read it, but it basically says like, in our latest guide, experts from talk about global mobility, and it's not really that captivating, and it didn't do very well. To be honest, like it's a relatively dry subject to talk about even on LinkedIn. So we changed it. We changed it to have the information gap. So like, found yourself struggling to navigate global mobility in the ever-evolving landscape. And that had a huge, we didn't change the paper, we didn't change anything else. And it meant that we had a 40% lower cost per download. So that kind of thing, like hooking people in with that and being able to use marketing concepts to make iterations of the copy that you're running can make such a huge difference to your campaigns. So yeah, to sum up, Consider how your potential clients view your business in a wider online context, right? If you're running advertising campaigns, they don't exist in a bubble. Consider how people are going to be interacting with you on the website. Are they going to be looking at you on Trustpilot? Are they going to be looking at your Google reviews? Like, consider all of those things and the impact that they are going to have. People are not just going to give out their credit card details or really now even their kind of work emails unless they feel like it's in a safe place. Humans have emotions and businesses do not, and you can use that to your leverage. There's no point in talking a bunch of business jargon and talking about how amazing you are, and there's just so many companies out there that I see the ads for and I'm like, what do you do? What do you do? What does your company actually do? It's like, you know, we're industry leaders with creative things. It's like, what do you do? So be clear, like be clear about what you do, be clear about the problems that you're going to be solving for human beings. And speak directly to that problem that you're going to solve for people, because you are going to see people convert a lot easier if you're talking to them and the issues that you're going to solve for them. And maximize your results, and most importantly, kind of your scalability by using copy concepts. It's as easy as just putting it into your naming conventions and pulling that together and seeing what is working, what iterations can I make off that one that is working. Basically go for it, like not sponsored by LinkedIn, but it's a really powerful marketing tool and you should be using it. So yeah, thank you so much.